And there's a wonderful quirky stat ahead of this one. The last 11 losing managers in this one have not been in charge by the time the next derby rolls around. There's so much more at stake than just bragging rights. Enjoy it in the company of the former Ipswich striker Sam Parkin and our commentator Nigel Adam.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon once again. It is the game which matters most in South Wales, and following Swansea's historic performances over the past couple of seasons, Cardiff have the chance to partially redress the balance today. Their first double would soothe some of that pain and, more importantly, keep them on course for a playoff challenge, which may still be an outside bet, but after the finish of their game with Ipswich last week live on Talksport 2, it would be foolish to rule anything out at this stage. One change for Swansea from their draw last week with Watford. Ben Cabango is out injured. Harry Darling comes back into the side in the back four, so it's Carl Rushworth in goal, Carl Norton, Harry Darling, Nathan Wood and Josh Tymon the back four, Joe Allen and Matt Grimes holding in midfield with Ronald, Patterson and Poeta behind Liam Cullen in attack. For Cardiff, the most significant sight really is that of Aaron Ramsey on the bench once again following so much injury. He has not started a game since September, of course, back in the Wales squad. That wasn't appreciated by his coach, Errol Bullitt, but he is back. The changes for them, of course, only concern the bench. It's the same starting 11 which beat Ipswich last week. Horvath in goal, and G, Phillips, Gutas and Wilson Esbrand their back four. Wintle and Siopis in midfield. Bowler, Turnbull, Grant and Mayte in attack. And under grey skies in southwest Wales, the 70th league meeting between Swansea and Cardiff is underway on the home of the EFL, Talksport 2, and it's Swansea wearing all white, Cardiff in all blue, as an early cross into the penalty area for Swansea, aimed towards Cullen, and it's swept behind by Siopis for the opening corner within 25 seconds.
Yeah, brilliant play, right-hand side. Ronald really on the front foot, direct wing play, puts it into a brilliant area. It's scrambled clear by Cardiff.
The corner's played short, high towards the far post, headed away though, and then fired back in by Grimes, and it wasn't too far wide, and it took a deflection as well. And Ethan Horvath never moved there. Grimes with a really good connection on the edge of the penalty area, but it took a crucial touch to send it behind.
Brilliant controlled volley from Matt Grimes, actually on the half volley. It's a difficult one to strike, but that is goal bound. I think it hits Phillips, diving header, Nat Phillips to clear Cardiff's lines.
Corner kick which Tymon will take on this near side. David Webb is our referee today, and he will just halt play to sort one or two things out inside the 6-yard area, and you can hear the noise rolling down from the stands here at the Swansea.com stadium. This is a game which both sets of supporters really get up for, as Tymon's corner in was aimed towards Darling, headed away to Patterson. He slips as he crosses, but Darling's on the end of it with a free header at the far post, but it's into the arms of Ethan Horvath.
Yeah, good play from Patterson down on the left-hand side. He's the type of player that can take the ball between the lines, good quality, good technician, and he displayed that there, angled ball in, and Darling just couldn't get it back in the opposite direction, in the direction of which it came, really. That's the only place he was going to score there. Made it easy for Horvath at his near post.
Wilson Esbrand, on loan from Manchester City, goes all the way back towards his goalkeeper, Horvath, who clears downfield, but Carl Norton, the oldest player on the field here today, gathers for Swansea on the far side. And here is Tymon, but a heavy first touch from him. He was closed down by Mayte. And Wood has support from Darling, who was back in the Swansea team, replacing Ben Cabango, who is injured. Cardiff, of course, won this game 2-0 back in September. Aaron Ramsey was on the score sheet that night. He's on the bench today. Ollie Tanner also scored his only goal of the season to open the scoring in that game for Cardiff. But previous to that, Russell Martin oversaw 4 victories in his South Wales derbies, the first ever league doubles in a rivalry going back over 100 years, were achieved by Swansea in the previous 2 seasons. Now Darling with a high ball forward again towards this near side, looking for Poeta. headed away by Ng. Pochetta, though, will shepherd the ball behind, and it will be the third corner to Swansea within the opening 3 minutes.
Yeah, started really well. Interestingly, Matt Grimes, I think early part of Luke Williams' tenure, was playing a bit higher up as a number 8, trying to get him forward to influence games in the final third. Very much playing as a deep line midfielder now, getting it off the 2 centre-halves, trying to get Swansea ticking and progressing the ball up the pitch.
Patterson and Tymon are over the corner on this near side, and it's left for Tymon. Out swinger, high into the 6-yard area, cleared as far as Ronaldo hits it, but he was closed down by Bowler, who blocks. Now it's back to the former Norwich player Pochetta. His deflected ball towards the edge of the area is controlled and cleared by Wintle, but the ball wide to the far side is quickly recovered by the retreating Norton. And at the moment, Cardiff finding it difficult to get out of their own half, but Darling will go all the way back towards Carl Rushworth, who has only 6 clean sheets in 37 games for Cardiff, for Swansea rather, so far this season, rather indicating the issues they have had defensively. And now Darling again. Swansea starting this game 15th in the table, but only 5 points above the relegation zone in the Championship. They've had more wins, points and goals away from home. Only 5 wins in 18 games here and 8 home defeats, as Tymon is penalised for a challenge on Bowler on this near side, and it will be a free kick for Cardiff, who are currently 11th, but 5 points outside the top 6, looking for 5 successive wins here today, which would be their best run of the season so far. And it's an outside chance, but it's all about momentum when you're chasing down a playoff place in the Championship, Sam, and at the moment Cardiff have that late in the season.
Yeah, and I alluded to the fact that Swansea City, if they're going to be engulfed in something of a relegation battle, have got a lot of the teams around them. There's not loads to fear for Cardiff. I think it's a pretty good running that they've got, games that they can take points from, but I think today's big. I think today is almost defining. I think if it could potentially go to 8 points, that gap this weekend, with 8 games to play, that's too tough for us.
Now Phillips has been closed down, and he then fouls Patterson midway inside the Cardiff half. All of the Swansea fans on the far side are on their feet, calling for a card from David Webb. But there is just a word towards the central defender on loan from Liverpool. But he tried to control the ball, Phillips, showed too much of that to Patterson, who quickly nipped in and was then held back by the central defender. Free kick for Swansea on the far side. Grimes and Patterson are both over it. 6 minutes played here on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL, and it's Swansea 0, Cardiff 0 in the South Wales derby. And Grimes over the free kick for Swansea. And if you want commentary on the FA Cup quarter-final from Molineux, retune to Talksport as the free kick is played in, played down by Allen and then fired towards goal from the edge of the penalty area by Liam Cullen, but it's high over the top.
Yeah, 3 snapshots now for Swansea, early stage of this game, and you alluded to it a little bit, Nigel, a few minutes ago. It's all well and good having the want to play through the thirds and to play perfect football, but so far in this game, the tenacity, the willingness to go and win the second balls has really been evident to me, and I think that's something that Luke Williams has probably grasped coming back in here. Maybe hasn't got that personnel to play the way he wants to play, so he's had to adjust accordingly, and I think they're playing a little bit more varied, so they're playing longer at times. That change in Matt Grimes as well, I think, shows you that they're just wanting a little bit more athleticism, and Joe Allen in the more advanced midfield position.
Here is Ronaldo now, coming forward down the right-hand side, supported by Norton. The high cross in over the head of Cullen, cleared as far as Allen, who brings it down on the edge of the penalty area. He's then brought down by Turnbull, and it's a free kick for Swansea in a central area, only a yard outside the box.
Yeah, I think that's kind from David Webb. I think he knew exactly what he was doing there, Joe Allen. Knew that the Cardiff player, Turnbull, was just going to get tight to him there. Took a little touch off his chest and just waited for a little bit of contact. I think he knew exactly what he was doing there and presents Swansea with a brilliant opportunity, edge of the D.
Patterson could curl this, so too could Cullen. Maybe almost too close for goal for someone like Grimes to try and float this free kick over the wall. It almost needs a bit of whip here and maybe to try and go under the wall if they can.
Yeah, I'd imagine the two players that are over it would favour the curler. But yeah, I think when it's close in like this, pace, maybe even, you know, takes a little nick off the wall and can wrong foot the goalkeeper. It's hard to get it underneath the crossbar. But Patterson and Grimes, two of the best, played with both these players. Very, very good footballers. Not Grimes, actually, is it? Who's that on the left foot?
It's Cullen. It will be Cullen or Patterson to hit this. And it's Patterson who whips it into the wall, back towards Cullen, who strikes it low, and it's wide.
Yeah, didn't get up at all, did he, Patterson? Just struck the shins of a Cardiff City player. Cullen with his second effort from...
I think he was trying to go under the wall, hoping they would jump.
Yeah, I'm just watching the Cullen effort back again on one of the monitors. Just didn't get any curl on it, on his left foot. Exact position where he had the half volley a few moments ago, Liam Cullen. So a couple of attempts early in this game for him.
9 minutes played here at the Swansea.com Stadium on Talksport 2. And it's Swansea 0, Cardiff 0. Still goalless as well at Molineux between Wolves and Coventry. If you want commentary of that game, retune to Talksport, and you can download the Talksport app and swipe between the two commentaries throughout the day, as it's a high ball played forward for Swansea on this near side. They're really pressing high in the opening moments, and Cardiff concede a throw-in, and the restart from Tymon is lightning quick. And now Wood plays it wide towards Darling on the far side, and they have certainly come out here with a point to prove, Swansea City, in the opening 10 minutes or so after what happened at the Cardiff City Stadium back in September, when they lost rather limply by 2-0. Now Poheta on this near side. Boulder, though, quickly snaps in with the challenge, and it will be a throw-in for Swansea. And they were looking to use the multi-ball system there, but David Webb spotted the ball had actually come back onto the field of play, so Tymon just has to delay. And now he's forced back into his own half, and Nathan Wood may have to go all the way back towards Rushworth, but instead he has the option of Harry Darling, who was one of the players who followed Russell Martin from MK Dons a couple of seasons ago. And really, Swansea have gone full circle. The pure football of Russell Martin, the more prosaic football of Michael Duff, and now they've gone back to the Russell Martin way in many ways, with his former assistant Luke Williams, who of course has come here from Notts County. It's a long ball forward, another long ball forward from Swansea, beats Ronald into touch on the far side. And we talk about managerial changes and changes of style. And we've mentioned it's a difficult job for Luke Williams. You look what's happened to Notts County since he left. They have absolutely fallen off a cliff in League Two, and it just shows another manager going in there, maybe trying a different approach, and things don't tend to work. Yeah, and interestingly, only a few minutes in here, Nigel, but seeing the goalkeeper kick it, I mean, having had conversations with Luke Williams, got to watch him at work a little bit when he was at Swindon during the infancy of his managerial career. That would have been unheard of, a goalkeeper kicking it. So I think that is just, I think he's adapting to what he's inherited here at Swansea, and obviously some of the signings would have been brought in under Michael Duff to play slightly different football. I think Luke Williams, under pressure and some heavy defeats in the early weeks of the job, has just adjusted. Now the flag's up for offside against Patterson, as Cardiff again tried to play out, and they gave the ball away, but it was quickly fed back towards Patterson, who was in an offside position. It was the clearance downfield initially from Horvath, which was short, and Swansea won it, but Patterson was stood in behind the final defender, and it will be a free kick with 12 minutes played here on Talksport 2, and it's Swansea 0, Cardiff City 0. Coming up at 3 o'clock live from Turf Moor, we have a big game towards the bottom of the Premier League, Burnley against Brentford with Ian Danta and Mickey Gray. And then over on Talksport at 5:30, it is the second FA Cup quarter-final between Manchester City and Newcastle, with Sam Matterface, Faye Carruthers and Stuart Pearce. And the other two quarter-finals, both live on Talksport tomorrow, 12:45, Leicester travelling to Chelsea, and then exclusively on national radio to Talksport at 3:30. It is Manchester United against Liverpool. Cardiff try and build again, but they've given the ball away again on the far side, and we could see Jamie Patterson looking to whip up the crowd as the ball drifted out for a Swansea throw-in. And at every opportunity here, the Swansea players are trying to connect with their supporters as Wood strides forward now. Plays it into the channel for Cullen. The clearance almost releases Pajetta inside the penalty area, but Phillips slides in and it will be another corner kick here to Swansea.
Yeah, really good stuff from Nathan Wood, just kind of bringing it out from defence. Salomin passed a couple of challenges, played it into Cullen. I think Cullen should have just nudged it on for Timon down the left-hand side, opted to take a touch, and it was enough for a Cardiff City defender to recover. But yet another corner kick opportunity for Swansea.
And Matt Grimes will take it this time. On this near side, Ronaldo, the Brazilian, coming short, but it's Grimes high towards the far post where it's Phillips who gets the touch once again to cushion the header behind for the 5th corner for Swansea within the opening 14 minutes here.
Yeah, Liam Cullen did well there, just to provide a nuisance factor really for Horvath, who would have been favourite. It was a little bit lofted, that delivery from Grimes. I thought the goalkeeper would come and take, but the Swansea City centre forward just did about enough to stay without.
Well, he blocked off the run, didn't he?
By the goalkeeper.
Blocking off runs has been a talking point in the Premier League over the last week or so, and maybe you get away with a bit more in the Championship. Another out-swinging corner for Swansea towards Darling, but everything drawn to the head of Nat Phillips at the moment. Now Timon with a good reverse ball to pick out Patterson. Another low cross in, which is charged down by Turnbull, and another Swansea corner. 0-0 here with 15 minutes played, but Swansea the dominant team. And Patterson is over this on the far side, but it may be left for Timon to swing this ball in. Cullen again is very close to the goalkeeper, Horvath. And the height of Wood and Darling looking to make late runs in from the far side of the penalty area, in towards Darling, but it's headed away from him. Ronaldo now, right-footed ball high to the far post again. It's nodded down by Wood, almost found Cullen, but some desperate touches from Cardiff will clear. But now Grimes sweeps it wide to the far side, and Patterson, high-hanging cross in. Darling still forward with a header, and it's off the top of the crossbar, and that's an escape for Cardiff City.
Yeah, great spell of pressure. It's a difficult header. Harry Darling's coming out of the sky. There's quite a lot of height on the delivery, and he's kind of in a standing position. He's not left the ground really. He can just watch it all the way onto his head, but he's got to be so precise. There's not loads of the goal to hit. There's a defender getting back on the line, Gutas the centre half, and he's got Horvath to beat with not a lot of pace on the delivery. Does his best, I would suggest, with that. Strikes the top of the crossbar.
Don't forget, over on Talksport at 2:30, Game Day Live with Adrian Durham, joined by Ray Parler and Perry Groves today. All the goals as they go in. Another big day in the Premier League and the EFL, and we're at that stage of the season where you look down the schedule and there are matches which matter all over the place as Meite challenges Darling on the far side. It seemed there that Meite may have headbutted Darling off the field. Players from both sides are getting involved, and David Webb, the referee, has a real decision to make here. It was way off the ball, and the Swansea players are suggesting to the referee and the assistant on the far side that Meite may have used his head, and there was certainly contact there between Meite and Darling. And this a real flashpoint in the opening stages of the South Wales derby. The referee is calling Meite towards him. Matt Grimes, the Swansea captain, is also having his say. And the question is, how much did the referee or the assistant on the far side, Bhupinder Singh Gill, see there?
Well, he's taken a while, hasn't he, the referee, which suggests it's not going to be a red. That's my hunch anyway. Darling's gone into the book.
Yellow card for Harry Darling, yellow card as well for Yaku Meite, and Meite continuing the conversation with Darling. Darling is smiling at him, but Meite is angrily gesticulating into the face of the central defender. And you can hear the volume has really been cranked up here inside the Swansea.com stadium. We're watching a monitor here, and Darling initially pushed Meite to the ground. Meite certainly pushed his forehead towards Darling, but how much contact was there? I would suggest not enough to lead to the reaction there from Darling, but really he shouldn't have led with his forehead into a member of the opposition.
I think he's just about got it right, the referee. I think people will look at that replay and suggest that Meite's made a slight little movement.
But Darling's gone down.
Yeah, Darling's gone down, and Darling actually put his hand in the face of Meite in the previous little incident. So I think the referee's bang on there, took his time, nice and composed in that corner where the Swansea fans are baying for blood, and I think he's actually got the decision, and the cardings of the players spot on.
Yeah, and we have to say as well that the assistant on the far side is predominantly operating in the other half of the field, so he wouldn't really have had a close-up view of what happened. It was by the corner flag on the far side. Darling now steps in to clear the ball down the line on the far side, and Grant will deflect that ball out. And when you look at it once again, in many ways, I can understand the subsequent reaction of Meite. He did lead with his forehead, but that contact shouldn't have resulted in that sort of response from Harry Darling.
No, I'm in total agreement. Like, if we're going to get overly technical about it, I think heads, they can come together in football. It's a physical game, and there's been an arm in the face from Darling. They're two guys going chest to chest there, obviously exchanging expletives, and sometimes that can happen. It doesn't mean that a 6'2" centre-half needs to fling himself to the deck. And so, people have other opinions on this. Some people will suggest that Meite moved his head slightly towards his opponent, and therefore, in the rules of the game, it should be a red card. Not for me. That's really good refereeing, I think. And as soon as he took 30 seconds to a minute just to survey the scene and just get his thought process right, I thought his decision making is really good.
And of course, David Webb does not have the backup of VAR in the Championship, but I think that was good refereeing overall. 19 minutes played, 0-0, and things have just about calmed down once again. 1,600 Cardiff fans are at the other end of the stadium to that incident, and they were bussed in what they call the bubble operation around an hour and a half before kick-off, and all of the bridges between Cardiff and Swansea on the M4 were heavily policed today to ensure that their coaches had safe passage between the two cities.
I think as well, Nigel, you can argue about the potential red card for Meite, but I don't want to see players trying to get other people sent off. I mean,
and that's what Darling did, let's be honest.
And it's really good to see the officials, whether he was booked for that or booked for the initial hand in the face, we don't know. But yeah, Darling certainly was trying to get an opposition player sent off.
Oh, a heavy challenge by Allen on Siopis inside the centre circle. And following the incident involving Darling and Meite, every single challenge now is leading to players from both sides milling around the referee.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Allen's going to have too many complaints there. He's a little bit late, he's a little bit high, a little bit rash, and that's probably going to be another yellow card.
Yeah, Joe Allen is booked. The home fans are absolutely livid around us because they still believe that Yaku Meite should have been sent off, and Allen is indeed shown the yellow card. Scored his first Swansea City goal at Cardiff in April of 2009. I remember being at that game. It put Swansea 2-1 up in the last minute. Mike Dean, who was the referee that day, also had his face cut open by a coin thrown from the crowd, and he then gave Cardiff a penalty in the final moments for them to equalise. As a shot from Carlin Grant squirts across the penalty area on this near side. Now Ng with a high hanging ball towards Meite, beaten to it in the air by Darling. That's going to be a confrontation worth keeping an eye on here, I think. There was more chatter off the ball as that ball was cleared downfield, and this game is absolutely 100 miles an hour at the moment. Players are wiring into challenges all over the field as Turnbull tries to make a break down the centre for midfield for Cardiff, but it's guarded back by Tywin towards Rushworth.
They'll be thinking, Cardiff City players, at least they've had a little feel of the ball there, a little bit of possession. Yes, it didn't go anywhere. Got one ball into the chest of Carlin Grant, and he got a snapshot away. I think we waited maybe 15 minutes for him to have a pass in the Swansea City half. That's how dominant the home side have been, albeit the last 5 minutes or so become a little disjointed since the referees become involved.
Well, Swansea have lost only 2 of the last 10 South Wales derbies, winning 4 of the last 5. Cardiff's last win here was in March of 2021 when Aidan Flint scored the only goal behind closed doors. They last won here in front of spectators in February 2011. I remember being here when Craig Bellamy scored a spectacular long-range winner. But it's only 2 wins in 12 in Swansea, going back to the days of the Vetchfield. Now Grimes wide to this near side, and Poiheta for Swansea. 23 minutes played on Talksport 2, 0-0. But at the moment, in terms of yellow cards, Swansea lead 2-1. And Darling, who's got one of them, will go all the way back towards Rushworth. You're listening to Swansea against Cardiff in the EFL Championship on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points. 18+, terms and conditions apply. Still goalless as well at Molineux in the FA Cup quarter-final over on Talksport. Patterson heads it forward, it's laid off by Cullen, but the flag is up for offside on the far side, and it will be a free kick for Swansea. 12:15 start at Molineux in the FA Cup. And Manchester City against Newcastle gets underway at 5:30, and you can also hear that game on Talksport. And following us, we have Brentford's trip to Burnley in the Premier League. Free kick here, which Ethan Horvath will take. And it's a rivalry which has been spread across 6 different divisions, only once in the Premier League, a decade ago now, as the long ball played forward from Horvath is nodded down by Mayte, looking for Bowler, but in the end Wilson Esbrand has to head the ball away on the far side, and it will be a throw-in to Swansea. And now it's been given away by Darling, and here it's Mayte deep into the penalty area, and Darling has to recover as Mayte looked to pull the trigger, and it's bundled behind for Cardiff's first corner.
Yeah, good work from Mayte, and the angle's against him when he gets to the loose ball, charges down the clearance or the pass from Harry Darling. The angle's against him. I think he has to look square. I think he just has to cut it back to his teammate who's arriving. I think he's thinking about getting the strike away himself, and it gives Harry Darling the opportunity to recover and make the challenge.
Corner kick for Swansea on the far side. Phillips and Gutas are both forward to attack this. Turnbull will whip the ball in towards Gutas at the near post. He challenges for it, but gets the flick on all wrong, and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's too far advanced of the near post, I think, to score with his right foot. Just flicked his foot at it, but 2 Swansea defenders in close proximity as well. Difficult chance, but the first of the game really for the away side.
And some big games coming up for Cardiff City. They've still got to play Hull and Southampton at home, and that Southampton game will be a big one, not least because Russell Martin, of course, will be returning to South Wales once again. Now Ronaldo on the far side, looking to deliver a cross into the penalty area. He claims he should have a corner kick as the sliding challenge came in, but in the end, the referee had a look. It was Gutas who got to him and is given a goal kick.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a corner from here. I was just thinking we've not seen Ronaldo since the first 30 seconds, really, when he put in that brilliant ball from the right-hand side for Cullen, but I think that's probably the way Cardiff have set up. They're very deep, 4-4-2, kind of without the ball, and it's hard for the 2 wide players who have had an impact, I think, at Swansea City. Had a dearth of real out-and-out pace. I think Swansea going back maybe a season or 2. So to add Poeta and Ronaldo in the window, I think that has given Swansea definitely a new lease of life in those positions.
Now Mayte working hard for Cardiff, wins the ball midway inside the Swansea half, wide to this near side and Bowler. Mayte pulls wide himself to provide the width, but he wasn't helped by the pace of the pass from Bowler. And coming across towards this near side to make the challenge was Timon, and it will be a throw-in for Cardiff on this near side, which Perry and G, the right back, their leading goal scorer with 6, will take in towards Mayte inside the area. He just slips. Half-hearted appeals maybe for a penalty from him, but no one else was thinking about that. Now Poeta with a nutmeg on G on this near side, but Cardiff quickly win the ball back. Pirouette from Turnbull, and the ball in field towards Wintle, who scored the first of those 2 very late goals to turn the game around against Ipswich, live on Talksport 2 last week. Now Turnbull on the edge of the penalty area, but Grimes does well to get his body between Turnbull on the ball and manages to clear the ball away. Patterson back towards Allen, who spreads it wide towards Norton on the far side. Now Ronaldo down the right-hand side. Esbrand Wilson comes very tight with the challenge, and in the end it's the Cardiff man who wins the ball. Again, the Swansea fans are baying for a free kick, but nothing given. But now it's won back by Cullen. Here is Allen coming forward, tries to find Poheta inside the penalty area. The clearance actually strikes Siopis, bounces back into the box, and in the end it's a hurried clearance on this near side by Ng, and Phillips now has the opportunity to get the ball away. Bowler back towards Ng, and he just lumps it long and high downfield on a chilly, grey, damp afternoon here in southwest Wales as Darling plays it all the way back towards Rushworth. Wintle then goes straight through the back of Darling, way off the ball, right in front of the referee.
He's going to be fortunate, Wintle, because I just do think he leaves a leg out, leaves a little bit on Harry Darling. But again, for me, the centre-half's diving about. Leaves a bit on him, flings himself to the ground, Darling once more, makes sure that the officials see it. I think he's trying to get Wintle booked.
Now Wood, back towards Darling. And Swansea here just taking a breather with 29 minutes played, still goalless here in the South Wales derby on Talksport 2. And Wood under pressure from Meite, has to go all the way back towards Rushworth, and I think Meite, if anything, has been fired up by that yellow card, and he's been all over the field for Cardiff ever since. Timon coming forward now on this near side. The recovery challenge from Siopis, though, wins it back for Cardiff, but Swansea quickly have it again with Poheta looking to attack down their left. Poheta, though, has been taken down by Ng. The referee has given the free kick, and once again the referee here has been put under pressure by both sets of supporters, but David Webb at the moment is the coolest man inside the Swansea.com stadium.
Yeah, I totally agree, Nigel. He's just taking a little breath, isn't he, in between challenges. Big appeals from both sets of supporters. A little bit on the ball there from NG, but not enough. Comes clattering into the Swansea City wide man. That's a good decision again.
Half an hour played, 0-0. Swansea have dominated possession and really had all of the chances so far, but Darling has hit the crossbar, but beyond that, Ethan Horvath has not really had a shot to save, although there have been plenty of near things. Grimes will take the free kick. Patterson is the shorter option. Bowler and Siopis in the wall. And both Darling and Wood are forward once again as Swansea look to make one of these set pieces count. Grimes swings it in. I think the ball may have actually gone out before it was gathered by Horvath. It was a dreadful delivery, far too much air on it, and it was very simple for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, really poor from his standards. Matt Grimes from the left-hand side, yeah, too much loft on it, just mishit it almost, and easy pickings for the goalkeeper. And I think Cardiff will be probably pretty relieved that they've got through this opening spell, still with the goal intact, and starting to play a little bit of football now themselves.
Swansea with 64% possession so far, 7 shots, only 1 on target. Cardiff have 2 shots, and neither of those have been anywhere near the target. The Swansea have a free kick, and the referee just giving that signal, pushing his palms towards the turf, telling both teams to calm down. Swansea dominated possession last week at Bristol City and lost 1-0, which in many ways sums up how things have been going under Luke Williams. 3 victories, 2 draws and 6 defeats. Although we left Notts County 5th in the table in League 2, and they're now 17th. They've gone the opposite way. As Ng takes a long high free kick to the far side, but hits it horribly straight out of play. Well, the atmosphere has been the best thing about the game so far, you have to say. 13 minutes to play in the first half. Still 0-0. As the hymns and arias boom out from both sets of supporters, as Wood brings it forward for Swansea on this near side. And now Timon back inside towards Grimes. And Swansea, of course, are the team which should play the more cultured football, but both teams have really been caught up in the derby atmosphere so far, as Allen just overruns the ball. Bowler steps away from him, and Bowler quickly plays it forward to Turnbull. Rushworth slides outside his penalty area, slips in the act of kicking it, and just about makes the contact to send the ball skewering out of play on this near side and leaves a big muddy smear on the playing surface just outside the penalty area.
There's half a chance. Bowler coming in field. Turnbull isn't particularly quick, so the ball had to be quite precise from Bowler and just gave him a fraction too much to do. Swansea City able to recover.
It's goalless at half-time at Molineux between Wolves and Coventry in the FA Cup. Ronald coming forward now on the far side for Swansea. Has support in field. And a high ball from Norton into the penalty area. Cullen onside, scores! Liam Cullen for Swansea City. And the Swansea.com stadium absolutely erupts. He was completely unmarked inside the penalty area. It was a brilliant volley. And Cullen, who has been the hero on so many occasions in recent weeks, comes up with another big goal. And Swansea City, in the game which matters most, lead Cardiff by a goal to nil.
Well, David Webb's had some big decisions already this afternoon, and that's the biggest of the lot. Quaheta has a hold of Perry NG, the Cardiff City right back. He goes to ground. NG, referee is not buying the Cardiff City complaints, but that means that Liam Cullen is completely unmarked on the far post and just has to compose himself and steer it into the bottom right-hand corner. It's a brilliant finish. He's onside. There's a grappling match going on, and that's the reason that he's free as a bird of the far post. Still got to finish it, and he does it really well.
Well, just watching the replay inside the stadium here, and there is no doubt that there was contact between Quaheta and Ng inside the penalty area. The restart has been delayed here because Joe Allen is receiving treatment, and I just wonder if the referee did consult there with one of its officials.
Yeah, I think the assistant on the far side was probably unsighted, didn't see it. I could see it from our vantage point up here in the opposite stand. I was looking at the referee again. He bided his time. He had a conversation with a couple of the Cardiff City defenders, but then just waved it away. I think they're fortuitous there. I think VAR's in play. That's probably going to be ruled out there. But they worked it really well down the right-hand side, and I spoke about the way that Cardiff have been in that kind of deep set block, and it's been difficult for Swansea to play through them. It called on one of the wide players, one out, taking a couple of Cardiff City defenders out of the game, and then it created the overload on the opposite side because they'd been moved out of their shape. There was a nice 2v1 for Cullen to arrive right on cue and finish beautifully on his left foot.
Well, the question is, do the officials believe that Ng maybe went down too easily because he knew there was an overload? Maybe he knew he was out of position and he bought the contact from Quaheta.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, it's good movement from the centre forward, actually peeling round there, wider than the wide player. So that little bit of rotation, Quaheta coming infield, the full-back, trying to attack the middle of the goal. Cullen recognises that and peeling around the far post, but great play on the opposite flank. Ronald, great pace, and then the composure at the end of it, just to almost stop it dead for the Swansea City midfielder to come on and deliver.
Swansea 1, Cardiff 0 in the South Wales derby on Talksport 2. Liam Cullen with only his 6th of the season, but 3 of his previous goals have come in 1-0 wins. And on the balance of play, Swansea do deserve to be ahead. And it's one of their academy players who has scored the goal. Well, we saw Cardiff come from a goal down to win dramatically last week, but they're not really in the game here at the moment as an attacking force at all. And they do have Famara Jeju, Ruben Colwell on the bench, Ollie Tanner, who scored in the previous South Wales derby. But irrespective of league position, this is always a massive game in this part of the world, and Swansea fans will still be looking over their shoulders towards the relegation zone as Phillips with a back header towards Goutas, and it's all the way back towards Ethan Horvath. And the Swansea City supporters are still bouncing on the far side following that goal. And it was at the end which has the Cardiff City fans behind it. Now Gutas. All the way back towards Horvath, who sweeps it long downfield again. Phillips heads it forward towards the far side, looking for Karlan Grant, who we barely mentioned, but he beats him into touch, and it will be a throw-in to Swansea City. Well, a couple of huge games coming up as well for Swansea. Away to Sheffield Wednesday, and at home to Queen's Park Rangers. Those sorts of games that Sam were mentioning against sides who are in the lower reaches of the table around Swansea City. So those are games they'll need to pick up points from as well. Allen spreads it wide to this near side, and there is plenty of room here for Wood to bring the ball forward for Swansea. Up to the halfway line, wide to Tymon, quickly on to Quaheta. Tymon now comes infield up towards the edge of the penalty area. Tries to feed it further infield towards Patterson, but it's deflected behind by Wintle, and it will be another Swansea corner with 6 minutes to play in the first half on Talksport 2, and Swansea leading by a goal to nil.
Yeah, really good stuff. Tymon, Quaheta down the left-hand side. Good awareness from the pair. Patterson was the pass, edge of the D, almost just arriving. Tymon tried to pick him out, and Cardiff City desperately recovering and giving away yet another corner.
Tymon will take it on this near side. Another outswinger flicked on by Darling. It's loose. And the shot from Norton is blocked. Allen tries a second effort, appeals for handball as it was blocked by Gutas, who was on the ground. And in the end, it is cleared away by Turnbull. But Swansea quickly have it back with Tymon. It breaks to Wood on this near side. Maybe thinks about the early cross, but instead finds Patterson. And it's all the way back towards Quaheta, close to the halfway line. Long diagonal ball from him, looking for Ronald, and a back header from Wilson Esbrand behind for another corner kick.
Yeah, I thought he was optimistic when he struck it, Quaheta, but just about had enough on it to force the fullback into a little bit of a scrambled clearance, one more, and this is big pressure, big few minutes for Cardiff to try and just get in at half-time, one down.
Patterson will take the corner kick on the far side. And he's a very popular figure with the Swansea supporters, not least because he scored at his first South Wales derby a couple of seasons ago, and his celebration certainly endeared him to the home supporters. Patterson in towards the near post. It's allowed to run by Wood. Fired in by Ronald, and just over the top.
Well, he's had two of those now, Ronald, and Swansea cumulative probably had 4 or 5 in this first half. Kind of edge of the D. Ball's been half cleared by Cardiff, and no one within 5 yards of a Swansea City player able to just stride onto it and strike it towards the target. That was the best of the lot, almost. Just a couple of yards over the top of Horvath's goal.
4 minutes to play in the first half. Swansea 1, Cardiff 0. Horvath, long downfield, headed on by Meite. Now it's controlled by Wood. The early ball forward again from him, high over the top, looking for the Pole Quaheta on this near side. Unji may need some support here. Quaheta with the yellow boots. The early cross into the penalty area, looking for Cullen, but it's headed away by Gutas. One back by Patterson, but he's shoved over Turnbull to win the ball. There's some dissent there from Patterson towards the referee, who just waves away the complaint, and it's a free kick for Cardiff. Now Josh Wilson Esbrand on the far side, the left. First opportunity really for Karlan Grant to try and attack down the left-hand side. He'll take on Darling, delivers a high ball into the penalty area. Bowler tries to keep the ball in play at the far post, but gets his feet tangled up, and it bobbles behind for a goal kick, and that was a chance.
It was, and he's not been at it, Bowler. I mean, it's been probably the same story for a number of the attacking players in Cardiff City Blue. Early days yet, but I'm sure if it remains so one-sided in the second half, Errol Bullett's thought process will immediately turn to his bench, and his strong bench at that. So he's got loads of players that could impact the game from the bench today. It's been very, very below par this first half for them.
Now Grimes, all the way back towards Rushworth, wearing all orange, and he really stands out on such a gloomy day here in southwest Wales. But it's a very bright one in terms of the scoreline for Swansea at the moment, as Wood brings it forward again. And he's been given so much time to stride over the halfway line and find Poeta down the left. A couple of step overs from him, but this time Ng does well to slide in and make the challenge. And it will be a throw-in for Swansea, which will be taken by Timon. In towards Patterson, flick back towards Patterson again, but then it's won back by Siopis, and Bowler will try and bring it forward. I think he's fouled by Timon on this near side. He is, and it will be a free kick for Cardiff right in front of Errol Bullitt, who has seen his team overwhelmed at times in the first half, but only a goal down. Wintle all the way back towards Phillips again. And that is the one thing that Cardiff fans can really hold on to as we head towards half-time. The fact they still remain in the game, even though Swansea have outshot them 11-2, but only 11 of those, or rather 2 of those 11 shots have been on target. Now Meite, he was having a shirt pulled by Wood, but he fell to the turf theatrically, so maybe as a result of that, doesn't get the free kick as another squally shower hits the Swansea.com stadium. Wood again, just outside the Swansea penalty area, using Rushworth. Meite quickly closes him down, but he manages to squeeze it wide to the far side, and Darling, and then Meite clips Darling. Needs to be careful here. He's already on a yellow card, and David Webb is having a long look at this. One or two Swansea players are having a word. Meite is being pulled aside to talk to the referee, and what does David Webb do here?
Yeah, he's irritated, Meite, because he didn't get the award for that shirt pull a few moments ago, but I'm with the referee. He's going to let him get away with that. I think that's not quite a yellow card. One more, absolutely, he's going for an early shower, but I don't think that warrants a yellow card.
Final warning there from David Webb for Yakou Meite, and again Harry Darling was very quick to suggest he should have had a yellow card for that challenge. A minimum of 3 more minutes at the end of the first half here, as Wood tries to loft it wide to this near side, but it's over the head of Poeta, and it will be a throw in to Cardiff City. Swansea goal up thanks to Liam Cullen 11 minutes before half-time.
Yeah, that's a different conversation if that's a player breaking past someone in the final third or past the last of the midfield line. That's a centre-half in the last minute of the first half, just going beyond the centre-forward. 70 yards from the Cardiff City goal. That can't be a yellow card. So again, I think the official's done really well there.
Throw in from Timon on the far side. It's quickly controlled by Grimes, and now Allen neatly spreads it wide towards Norton, who provided the cross for the Swansea goal. He links up with Ronaldo again down the right. Norton with another high hanging ball in. Poeta is waiting, but Ng does well to rise and head the ball outside the penalty area, where it's picked up by Bowler, but he scampers in field, sees nowhere to go, goes back towards Ng. A long ball forward from him, picks up Meite. Meite is having his shirt pulled there by Wood, and this time he gets the free kick. Meite applauds the referee, and I wouldn't do that if I was him.
No, that's foolish. I think he's fortunate the referee hasn't seen that.
Yeah, there was a degree of sarcasm from Yakou Meite there, as he did get the free kick. It was a clear free kick, but he should just let the referee the game.
Yeah, he's competed, hasn't he? I mean, he's not had a great deal to work with, Meite, in terms of the players around him. He's tried to get hold of it. He's won a few headers, but he's quite isolated up there. Turnbull wants the ball to feet. He's a little intricate kind of attacking midfield. Number 10, he doesn't want to run beyond, so it's been a really difficult half for Meite. So he just needs to keep his composure and stay on the pitch, because he's doing an OK job for his team.
Ng with the free kick, high towards the far post, looking for Gutas, headed away though by Darling. Siopis heads it wide to the far side. Gutas, a high ball into the area. Meite's having his shirt pulled there by Wood again inside the box, as they competed under a high ball. In the end, it's hammered away by Timon, and it will be a throw into Cardiff on this near side, which Ng will take, but not before another ball is thrown onto the field of play by the Swansea supporters to our right. And I just wonder if Yakou Meite will resume at the start of the second half, and maybe Errol Bullitt may take him off, deeming him to be a red card risk. He does have Famara Jeju on the bench. Bowler on this near side, appeals for handball against him as he brings the ball under control, but Patterson quickly makes the challenge, and it will be a throw-in for Cardiff. We've gone beyond the original 3 minutes of added time here. Grant with the ball into the penalty area, and that is half-time. Swansea a goal up thanks to a controlled volley from Liam Cullen 11 minutes before half-time. There were one or two moments before that, typical of a local derby. Harry Darling and Yaku Mete both booked after a flashpoint on the far side. There's been a real undercurrent throughout the game, but at the moment, the home side deserve their lead as they seek to prevent Cardiff clinching a first ever league double in the South Wales derby. Half-time, Swansea City 1, Cardiff City 0.
Well, it's spicy, and you just thought it might be in the South Wales derby. Nigel and Sam, brilliant commentary from the pair of you. Interesting that Swansea lead, it's going against the form guide as we thought it might before the game, but to me, listening to your commentary, it feels a bit like Cardiff fanned the flames and got burnt.
Yeah, that was a really, really good performance from the home side. 45 minutes, albeit that's gone. But yeah, I thought they were dominant in all departments of the game. I think in terms of the intensity, the way that they've won second balls, that's been really evident to me above anything else, really. You expect Swansea to play the better football. They've got better footballers for my money, but it's the other side of the game that I've been impressed with by Swansea so far today. They've really competed, shown that aggression, just about kept it in track, because there's been a few decisions there where the referee could have definitely been a little bit more stringent. He's been a little bit lenient, which I've actually enjoyed. I think the officials have refereed it well, and that's added to a really good spectacle.
Yeah, let it flow seems to be the approach from the referee, but Yaku Mete sounds like a walking red card.
Yeah, I think he's fortunate. I'm pleased that he wasn't red carded. I think we have those incidents where they get slowed down and there can be a little bit of movement from one of the players' head to an opponent, and maybe, you know, in the rule book now that would be an automatic red card. But I'm pleased on this occasion that the referee showed a little bit of leniency. It's a derby. It's a really strong rivalry. The atmosphere is incredibly hot. It would have been easy for him to steam in and show the red card, but I thought the right outcome was a booking for both players. Harry Darling for the theatrics, and Mete for being slightly over exuberant maybe with his reaction. So I think David Webb's been absolutely excellent in that first half. There was a few occasions where he could have gone and just brandished the red straight away. He's taken those 5 seconds just to have a little think about it, and maybe, just maybe, the one thing he got wrong was possibly the infringement potentially on Perry NG, which led to the opening goal. So that's a big talking point.
Yeah, so well worth pointing out, of course, no VAR in the Championship. He's not propped up like the referees are in the Premier League. Do you think, although the goal by Liam Cullen was really well taken, he's one of our own, the Swansea fans were singing, do you think that goal should have stood?
I think Nigel made a really good point, actually, and there's been a few occasions in that first half where players have gone down slightly too easily, and I think Perry NG maybe just recognised that Swansea had the man over in Liam Cullen, the goal scorer, and just made that decision on the spot that he was going to make the most of any contact that was there from the wide player. So again, I'm quite pleased it was allowed to go, but I think, if I'm being cynical, I think if we had the technology in the Championship, we'd probably still be talking about a game that was goalless.
Yes, we might well be. Sam Parkin, Nigel Adderley, take a breather at half-time. 1-0 to Swansea over Cardiff in the South Wales derby. This is EFL Game Day Live. Half-time, what a derby. We've got the second 45 to come, and we'll build up to our exclusive 3 p.m. kickoff between Burnley and Brentford next.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the EFL. EFL Live on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Fancy some extra fries for extra time? Order McDelivery now on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points delivered too. 18 plus. Rewards account required. Participating restaurants. Subject to availability. Delivery fees and terms apply.
That goal, that concert, that move, that feeling. It could only have happened here. Following the footsteps of legends on a tour of Wembley Stadium with exclusive access to the dressing rooms, press room and even the Royal Box. Plus, experience the journey made by the world's biggest names in football, through the Players' Tunnel and onto England's most iconic sporting stage. Wembley's award-winning stadium tour kicks off every morning from 10. Book now at wembleystadium.com/tours. It matters more at Wembley.
Modern football is all about control. Controlling the ball, controlling possession, controlling the game. If you ever feel that gambling is starting to control you, help is available right now at talkbanstop.com. Thousands of people have taken advantage of free support and practical tools, like GamBan, which blocks your devices from accessing gambling websites and apps, and GamStop, which will stop you signing up to any UK-registered gambling website. Take control of your recovery. Search Talk Ban Stop.
New all-electric Lexus RZ with a high-definition touchscreen and bold design inside and out. But in the end, the drive is everything. Now available at 0% APR with a £4,500 deposit contribution. Book your test drive today at lexus.co.uk. Available on PCP over 48 months when financed through Lexus Financial Services by 1st July 2024. Optional final payment. Indemnities may be required. See website. Conditions apply.
The sound of... There's nothing more satisfying than a garden spring clean with Karcher. Whether it's decking, patios, fences or driveways, dirt, dust and moss don't stand a chance against Karcher's pressure washers. This is what Karcher Clean feels like. Bring back the wow.
At Morrison's, we've price-matched hundreds of products to Aldi and Lidl, whichever's cheaper, like semi-skimmed milk, carrots, onions, bananas, British steak mince, chopped tomatoes, British chicken breast fillets, tiger bread, pasta, and more.
Morrison's to shop at Morrison's.
For full terms and conditions and verification, visit my.morrisons.com/price-match-terms.
Nothing beats a Jet2 holiday. And right now, families can save up to £240. So fly to sunny favourites like Turkey, Spain and Cyprus with millions of free child place holidays available. Book now with just a £60 deposit per person and spread the cost with flexible monthly payments. Jet2 Holidays. Package holidays you can trust. Up to national protected. Subject to availability and conditions.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on Talksport. Mid-morning radio that's up for the job.
They're morons and need to be marginalised.
Concrete sports talk.
This is moving as we speak.
Rapid setting opinion.
Did you pay for a ticket? No, I did a Jim White special.
Big names all bagged up.
Graham Souness is with us live this morning.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Delivered weekday mornings from 10 on Talksport by Selco Builders Warehouse. Order online for free delivery at selcobw.com.
Game day. The goals are calling.
Today, exclusive kick-by-kick commentary of Burnley versus Brentford.
Coverage from 2:30, kick-off 3 p.m.
on Talksport 2. Game day. The best spine-tingling commentary.
And it's in. EFL Game Day Live.
On Talksport 2.
They've lost 11 of their 14 Premier League home games this season. Full time, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2.
The easiest way to say it is last season, this season, it's just a different league.
It's a team that I hugely respect. You can clearly see what they want to do.
A lot of nearly moments, Burnley, but nearly doesn't keep you in the division.
It's yet another miserable day for Burnley, who are surely now staring down the barrel of relegation.
I look for any opportunity to do something special. This season can still be that. So why throw away this opportunity?
The Championship is waiting for Burnley. That's now 18 league defeats and still only one win all season at home. Burnley 0, Arsenal 5.
Overall, I think it was a game management from company which is absolutely scandalous.
We need the 3 points. We need goals. We need to win games.
It's about us. We need to perform.
We experienced something fantastic last year, but there's absolutely no reason why the next 10 games cannot give us the same feeling back, and that's how we have to approach it.
This is Game Day Live, cracking doubleheader for you today here on Talksport 2. We will take you back to the Swansea.com stadium shortly for second half of the EFL Championship action. Swansea 1-0 up against Cardiff at half-time. Following that match, we'll bring you Burnley against Brentford from here at Turf Moor, where one or two fans are starting to file in and take their seat already. And alongside me will be our top team of the former England fullback Mickey Gray and Ian Danter, and they join me now to look ahead to this game. It's interesting just hearing from Vincent Kompany in that little clip there, just to set up the game, Mickey. He dreams of something special, but they've already lost 11 of 14 at home this season. This is done, isn't it, for Burnley?
I mean, they can dream as much as they like, Chris. I think when you come into the Premier League, and I think you try and play the same style of football like you actually did last season, which was successful, I have to give them that. I think they were always going to struggle. I think it's been a problem from them since day one. Yes, he's talking about something special, but you can't wait until there's 10 games left of a Premier League season to try and hope for something special when you're so far away from the sides just above you, and hoping that they're going to get a points deduction, or they hope that they're going to lose and you're going to win the next 3 or 4 games because you've got sides around you. I just think it's been a season to forget for Burnley.
Yeah, so he stayed true to the principles that they played with last season. They were a great watch last season, great listen on the radio as well. Do you think that they could have had a more successful season this year had they have stuck with some of those principles, but also just been a little bit more staunch at the back, stoic?
Look, I think I went on record about 2 or 3 weeks ago saying I think it's getting harder and harder for Championship sides when they actually get promoted into the Premier League. And I think it does come down to funds. Recruitment, bringing players in is very difficult when you're trying to bring in a better batch of players than the ones that have actually got you promoted. Maybe trying to keep the camp inside the dressing room very happy and not bring in 2 or 3 superstars who are going to maybe upset that dressing room. I think that's always difficult. But I just think from day one, I have to say, I just think they've been naive. And I say that with a lot of criticism because you've got to look at what's above you in the Premier League and think about the sides who get promoted over the years from the Championship. There's not many who are successful the first season out. It takes them a little bit of time, and I always think, right, just try and keep that stable balance, maybe bring in 1 or 2 who are maybe experienced players, and as long as you've got goals at either end, which they've obviously struggled with as well, you give yourself a fighting chance. But that first season back in the Premier League is about fighting, and I don't think Burnley have showed it enough on a regular basis.
Well, Chris, I would argue that there's been too much change at Burnley. I've seen promoted teams like Bournemouth come up from the Championship, and Eddie Howe didn't make a great deal of change to the playing squad for that first season at Premier League level. And yeah, they had their dodgy moments, but ultimately they survived, and they had 5 years in the Premier League, almost became a hardy perennial. And they're back there now under Iraola. With Burnley, I was hoping that, for example, they might have tried to do a permanent deal for Nathan Teller, who was such a pivotal part of that promotion squad 2 seasons ago. Sometimes you can make too much change, and there was money spent. Let's not forget that then, having one promotion, they didn't throw tuppence halfpenny.
And Mickey made the point off air that you actually feel like they're worse than last year.
Well, I do, yeah. And Dante just mentioned one of their better players. You take away Teller's goals, you've got to replace them with somebody else. I know it's going to be difficult to get yourself into double figures, but other players have done it. You think about Harwood Bellis, who they got, they brought him in on loan. He's gone away elsewhere and he's done very well. Manuel Benson has not been the same player we saw last season. When he broke onto the scene, he was absolutely outstanding. Zurore, another one who's left, enjoying Championship football at the moment, but why are they not getting the same levels what Vincent Kompany was getting out of them last season? I think that's been a certain problem. I looked in midfield. Josh Cullen, wonderful footballer, technically very good, but has he got that physicality that you need to play in the Premier League week in, week out? And I think that has been the problem. Then add to that a striker. Foster's a very good player, but we know about his off-field problems. We've got to take that into consideration. But was he going to get the goals for you? And it's always been an uphill challenge for me, for Burnley, from day one, to try and play that style of football that Vincent Kompany wants to play. And I think you've got to credit him for it in a way. But was it going to work? No, it wasn't.
Goal in the FA Cup over on Talksport 1. Coventry of the Championship have gone 1-0 up against Wolves. Ellis Sims has got the goal. 54 minutes gone in that one, actually approaching the hour in that one. Brentford fans will be listening to this going, why are we talking about Burnley and not Brentford? Quick one to you, Dance. Can they be pulled into this relegation fight?
Without question. They're only 5 clear, and they've got a wretched record. They've lost 13 in the Premier League since they won 3 successive matches late October, early November. No team has lost more in that time. That's a real worry. They've got Tony back. They want Mbeumo back. I think Mickey and I have been talking about that downstairs. Those two dovetail particularly well together. If Mbeumo's anywhere near fit and he can play today or in the next couple of weeks, that's a big boost for Brentford, because him and Tony as a partnership are lethal.
And so we'll be looking out to see whether or not Mbeumo is involved today when we get the team news at 2 o'clock. Thank you for now, gents. We'll be back with you shortly. We are going to take you back to the Swansea.com stadium now, though. Second half commentary of the South Wales derby, where Swansea are going against the form book. They're 1-0 up against Cardiff. Nigel Adderley is our match commentator.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome back to what is a very wet afternoon now in South West Wales. The rain has really come in during half-time, and it's torrential here. Swansea are back out for the second half, and they will enjoy playing on this very slick playing surface now. But Sam Parkin, they've not played the sort of football you would associate with Luke Williams and maybe Swansea City in recent years. For much of this game, they've been a bit more direct, and maybe that suited them.
Yeah, it's been a nice mixture, I think, between the two. When they have had the opportunity to build, they've done so, but when it's not been on, they've looked for those diagonals to those two kind of athletic wide players that they've got in their ranks now. They can't play into the centre forward realistically, Cullen, because he's going to be out-muscled by Phillips and Gutas, so they've used that diagonal. The goalkeeper's kicked to those wide players on occasion, and when there's been a little bit more time, Wood's been able to get on the ball, the centre half, and drive them up the pitch with his quality as well. So yeah, nice variety, and it has meant that Cardiff are forced into a change, I would say.
Changes being made by Cardiff City at half-time. Yaku Mete has been taken off. Callum O'Dowda, who scored the dramatic 100th minute winner last week against Ipswich, has come on to the field of play, and I think Ruben Colwill has also come on for the second half, and David Turnbull is the player who's been replaced.
Yeah, no surprise on Mate, and yeah, he was a bit of a passenger, Turnbull, as well. I was expecting more from him. His performances have been improving last few weeks, and been a good attacking outlet for them, but we didn't see that in the first half. So different front two. It looks like Colwell's going to go up there and support Carlan Grant, who's gone as the number 9 now.
Looks like 4-4-2 in the second half for Cardiff. The Swansea team has Rushworth in goal, Norton, Darling, Wood and Timon the back four, Allen and Grimes in midfield, Ronald, Patterson and Poheta behind the goal scorer Cullen in attack. The Cardiff team is now Horvath in goal, and G. Phillips, Gutas and Wilson Esbrand the back four. Wintle and Siopis will be at the heart of midfield. It will be O'Dowda on the left and Bowler on the right, with Colwill alongside Grant in their attack. So maybe it's slightly more direct as well from Cardiff in the second half, who offered very little going forward during the first. As Swansea come forward now with Poheta down this near side. The cross into the penalty area, though, was straight into the arms of Horvath. Swansea in all white attacking the goal away to our right in the second half.
Yeah, Swansea's wide players switched over as well. Start this second half as well. One out on the left, and that's Poheta on the right hand side, getting to the byline, putting the first delivery of the second half into the Cardiff box.
A reminder, Cardiff have never completed a league double over Swansea in a rivalry going back 110 years, and at the moment it won't be happening this season for them. 1-0 down as Norton comes forward down the right for Swansea, finding Poheta. He turns and plays a high cross in, nodded away by Siopis. Colwill flicks it on, and now Grant looking to release Wintle, who's the furthest player forward on the halfway line. O'Dowda quick to join in, and Siopis with a good ball forward to release Grant wide on the far side, but he's flagged offside 15 yards inside the Swansea half, and it will be a free kick to the home side.
That was a chance. It was really intelligent movement actually from Carlan Grant. It just backpedaled almost, looked like he was taking his line off Nathan Wood, I think, was the Swansea defender. Siopis, as you said, Nigel, found him beautifully. Not quite enough pace on the pass maybe to take Grant in on goal, but he would have been able to recycle possession and wait for his teammates to join in. So half a chance missed there for the away side.
2.5 minutes into the second half here on Talksport 2. Swansea 1, Cardiff 0. Over on Talksport, Coventry a goal up at Wolves in the FA Cup quarter-final. There could be a shock there, and it could be a championship side heading to Wembley as Cardiff give the ball away on the edge of their own penalty area. Patterson now goes for the left-footed curler, but I think he slipped as he hit it, and it sails high over the top.
Yeah, good closing down. Joe Allen, I think it was, Swansea midfielder, really high up the pitch there. Good intensity, start of this half, and Patterson's difficult customer when you come up against him there because he can go either side. Got two really good feet, opted to bring it infield and try and bend one towards the top corner, but as he said, just lost his footing.
And players beginning to slip and slide on the playing surface here. It has been a very wet day. It was beautiful and sunny as I left and headed west earlier on this morning, but the weather progressively got worse the further into Wales you began to travel. The weather coming in from the west today across the UK, and that's been reflected by what we're seeing here in the southwest of Wales as Cardiff give up possession cheaply on the far side again, and it will be a throw-in for Swansea. And they will try and build something from the back with Darling. Now Wood. And the two central defenders have had very little to do defensively so far as Patterson finds space down the left, looks to slip it forward towards Ronald, who goes down, and the penalty kick has been given to Swansea City, and it was Ng pulling back Ronald inside the penalty area. Swansea are quick to complain, Cardiff are quick to complain, but Swansea here with the opportunity to finish things off.
Looks soft to me. It looks like Ronald makes the most of it, flings himself to the ground. There may very well have been a bit of contact. They worked it nicely, the overlap, and I think, having seen it again on the monitor, it looks like he is striding beyond NG's goal side. They may have a little bit of each other's shirts, but there probably is enough there to deem that an infringement and therefore a penalty. Or has it started outside? It started outside the box, but it looked like it continued in. It looked like Ronald had a part of his shirt as well.
But Liam Cullen, who scored the first goal, has the opportunity here to get the second. 5 minutes into the second half. This a big moment for Liam Cullen and Swansea City in the South Wales derby. He steps up left-footed and he's put it wide. A terrible penalty from Cullen. Horvath had gone the wrong way. He was very deliberate, and he slid it wide of the post. Shirt over the head from Cullen, but not in celebration, and it's a reprieve for Cardiff City.
Shame for the young man. He's having such a fine afternoon. Yeah, I mean, it's almost perfect, isn't it? It's only inches past that post, but didn't have to be that precise, given that the goalkeeper, Horvath, had completely gone in the opposite direction, flinging himself to his left, and Cullen not to know that, but yeah, just missed by a whisker.
But by the time he got to the ball, he literally had the whole goal to aim at, because Horvath had made the decision to go very early. But Cullen tried to be precise. He picked his corner, I think, before he'd taken it. And he failed to hit the target, and it's still 1-0. Free kick on the far side now for Cardiff. And can they make the most of that?
You know there's going to be an improvement from Cardiff in this second half, so that would have just been such a bitter blow. It's whether they react straight away now or Swansea can still continue to play in the same vein they were in the first period, completely dominant.
Free kick which Bowler will take, but it's left in the end and then played short towards Bowler. Down the line for Ng, down the right-hand side. The high cross in towards Phillips, but it's nodded behind by Norton. It will be a corner kick.
Yeah, did well there. Nathan Wood just stopped Nat Phillips getting off the ground there. Pulled round the far post nicely. Liverpool Loney looked like he was going to be favourite to attack that, but Wood did really well.
Winter will take the corner kick here for Cardiff. Moments after Swansea have missed a penalty. Wintle with the high ball in, and Rushworth does well to claim. Looks for the quick release on the edge of the penalty area, and he does release it, and they can break clear here with Grimes over the halfway line. Patterson to his left, and Quaheta further forward was offside. He had Ronald unmarked inside the penalty area, but he made the move too soon.
Yeah, I think Ryan Wintle was the furthest back Cardiff City player, the midfield player. He was almost in a left back berth, kind of keeping tabs on Ronald, and he just stepped up at the vital moment, and therefore Patterson had got a fraction too early. Grimes delayed, but had to release the pass. He was getting caught by some Cardiff City covering defenders, and decision given by the official on this near side.
Grant now chasing at the other end, but would have gone down. I think may well have got the free kick, but it bounced through towards Rushworth anyway. 53 minutes played. Swansea 1, Cardiff 0 on the home of the EFL Talksport 2. Now Norton going all the way back towards Rushworth again. And Swansea had the opportunity to put Cardiff away there, and they failed to take it. Here is Ronald coming forward again, and he goes down under the challenge of Ng, and it will be a free kick 15 yards inside the Cardiff half, wide on the far side, the Swansea left.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is going to be, more of an even contest in this second half. I think Cardiff have stepped up the pitch now that they've got Colwill in closer proximity with the centre forward Grant. They're going and closing, trying to put Swansea under a little bit of pressure, and therefore if Swansea can bypass that initial bit of pressure, the two wide players in particular are going to have more space. Ronald certainly started this second half, is starting to get into his groove.
Free kick for Swansea. High into the penalty area from Patterson. Darling with the header. Well, he got the run inside Wilson Esbrand, and he looked to power the ball in towards that far corner, but it was too close to Horvath.
He had no idea what was around him there, Wilson Esbrand. Really poor defending. Harry Darling's just more aggressive, more alive to the situation, and fullback's got to know what's around him there and just go and attack the ball.
Well, Errol Bullitt was having words with Wilson Esbrand there as play continued on this near side, and the message seemed to be, look alive. Almost won back by Colwill on the halfway line, but Swansea are always quick to get bodies around the ball, and here's Patterson coming forward again, looking for Cullen on the edge of the penalty area. Swept away, though, by Siopis, and Wood will go all the way back towards Carl Rushworth once again. 1-0 to Swansea with 10 minutes played in the second half here on Talksport 2, and over on Talksport in the FA Cup it is still Wolves 0, Coventry 1. Only 18 minutes to play at Molineux. There could be a shock in the quarter-finals. Ellis Sim with the only goal early in the second half. Here, early in the second half, we've had a penalty miss from Liam Cullen, who scored the only goal, but Cullen now fouling Gutas on this near side, and it will be a free kick in the full-back area for Cardiff City. And this game could go one of two ways now for Liam Cullen. He could remain the hero, or he could be talked about for a number of years. Here is Colwill now for Cardiff. Swings a high ball to this near side, looking for O'Dowda, but Norton judged that well, but now Norton has gone down, and I think he's got a knee problem. The left knee seemed to lock there for Norton as he made that challenge, and very quickly he ushered to the bench for treatment.
Yeah, it'd be shame for him. Played well, Carl Norton. Put that delivery in for the opening goal today. That was another really intelligent, excellent bit of movement from Carlon Grant, but the pass was turned down. Midfield player opted to play wide left to O'Dowda. Grant had the beating of Wood, I think was his marker. Good little double movement towards the ball, then spun into the space, but once more he wasn't found by a teammate. But some optimism, I would say, for Cardiff moving forward. A little bit more movement down the middle.
And you're listening to Swansea v Cardiff in the EFL Championship on Talksport 2 with McDonald's. Order McDelivery on the McDonald's app and get tasty reward points. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Well, Carl Norton is hobbling towards this near side. He's not going to be able to continue, so Josh Key, the former Exeter player, will come on to replace him. And it's a big time for a player to come into a game with their side leading by a goal to nil. And there's a real disparity in experience between Carl Norton and Josh Key. Wilson Esbrand will take the throw-in on this near side for Cardiff. Looking for Grant, but it's cut out by Key, and it will be a throw-in for Cardiff again. Grant back towards Wilson Esbrand, tight to the touchline on this near side, but he's done well to shuffle and find some space, delivers the cross into the near post, and the challenge comes in from Grimes. He was off balance as he made contact there, very close to his own goal, and it spins behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, really good ball in. Finds a nice area, just a lack of bodies really from Cardiff, or certainly a lack of movement across the near post. Colwell a little bit on his heels and relatively easy to defend.
Wintle with the corner, high towards the far post, nodded down by Phillips, but into the arms of Rushworth at the far post. Rushworth now very quickly bowls the ball out. Ronald is using his pace on this near side, the Brazilian. Looking for support now, found it from Poeta, but it was cut out by Wintle. Here is Colwell for Cardiff, who remains such a talented but maybe enigmatic player as he glides away from a couple of challenges and plays it wide towards the far side. He looks to have the talent to be a real star, Ruben Colwell, but in his young career so far he's just lacked that consistency, although he's still only 21 years of age. Now Gutas all the way back towards Ethan Horvath, and we played 59 minutes here at a very wet Swansea.com stadium on Talksport 2, where the home side lead their biggest rivals by a goal to nil. Now Colwell spins and plays a good ball down the line for Bowler, down the right-hand side. Grant and O'Dowd await in the centre. Bowler holds on to the ball, looks to hit the byline now. He's got support from Colwell. Back towards Colwell, who hits it right-footed but over the top. And it was a real chance for Cardiff to equalise.
Well, he's impacted the game, Colwell, and that's what you need, what you want from your substitutes, especially when you're so below par in the first half. He's getting between the lines and he's able to get turned on a couple of occasions there. Bowler had two options there. He could have fizzed it in early for O'Dowd, or he could have held the play up and just waited for his teammates to support. Did the latter. Colwell probably should have done better, given that he was quite well presented in the 18-yard box.
But Colwell's had injury problems, but we're still waiting for the big breakthrough from him. He's a Jason Kumas type player, for those who may remember him.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to try and fit him into a system, I suppose. Yeah, it's difficult sometimes if you're worried you're going to be outnumbered in midfield.
Now Grant chasing a long ball forward for Cardiff again. Rushworth outside his penalty area, controls and then clears. There's a missed kick from Ng. It's headed forward by Gutas, and now Allen looks to restore some order to the Swansea midfield, and Wood goes back to his goalkeeper once again.
His first couple of bits of involvement is what I was kind of hoping or expecting to see from Turnbull in that first half. They just couldn't get him on the ball. I mean, invariably this happens in the second half. Swansea were never going to be as dominant, so I felt a little bit for Meite and the aforementioned Turnbull as well in the first half.
Now Allen plays it wide on this near side, and it's quickly controlled by Cullen. Cullen does well to find Grimes. Grimes with the early ball over the top, looking for the run of Patterson, but in the end the ball is overhit and it will go behind, and it will be a goal kick for Cardiff City, who trail here by a goal to nil with 61 minutes played. Of course, they scored twice very late on last week to beat Ipswich live on Talksport 2, but you can't rely on that sort of dramatic recovery every week, and they're about to make a change. And Ollie Tanner, whose only goal this season came against Swansea back in September, he will be coming on as part of their attack. Now it's back towards Gutas again, and a good ball wide to the far side, and G is onside and he's kept the ball in play. In behind, Ronald delivers the high cross into the penalty area, headed away by Wood at the near post. Siopis unable to control the header back towards the edge of the penalty area. Now Phillips, but Cardiff have more bodies in midfield at the moment. Wilson Esbrand on this near side. Back towards Wintle. Slipped inside to Siopis. And Siopis will have to go all the way back to his fellow Greek, Goutas. And at the moment, Cardiff are looking the more effective team going forward. Here is Colwell again, who has certainly helped that. And G. Colwell continues his run on the outside. It's infield to Grant, and now wide towards Colwell again. Bowler in support, but Colwell looks to pick out Grant with a ball into the penalty area. Right sort of idea, but it was just overhit, and it goes behind for a goal kick. And here is the change. Ollie Tanner coming on, and Josh Bowler coming off.
Yeah, very similar type players, I would suggest. Left-footers, play on the opposite side, play on the right-hand side, want to come in field and hit shots. That was the way he got his goal in this game early part of this season. Strange, really, because he was getting rave reviews at that stage. I think he'd assisted a goal maybe in previous week to that goal in the derby, and we've not really seen much of him. There was big expectation on him at that stage, so it's been a peculiar season for him.
One start since November. And I wonder if or when we will see Aaron Ramsey here today. Poheta's run offside again on this near side, so he checks back to receive it from Tanner. And now Poheta breaks towards the edge of the penalty area. Good run from him. He's got support, but he may go alone. In the end, his shot was charged down by Phillips, and it spins away for a corner kick.
Yeah, good play. There was a pass on for Ronaldo, who had about 5 yards of space on the left-hand side of the 18-yard box, but Poheta's opportunities to shoot himself have been slim so far this afternoon, so I can understand him taking that on after the initial good bit of play.
64 minutes played on Talksport 2, the home of the EFL. It's Swansea 1, Cardiff 0 in the South Wales derby. Swansea corner on the far side. Darling makes the run towards the near post. It's Darling who rises, but Allen with a header, but there were bodies all over the place there, mainly Cardiff bodies on the ground, and a free kick's been given. And there may be more movement on the benches very soon. And I think it's Swansea who are looking for a change, and Ollie Cooper may be the player who was coming on. As it's cleared downfield by the American Ethan Horvath, who was promoted from the Championship last season with Luton on loan from Nottingham Forest, but he's since made his move to Cardiff, a permanent one from the City ground. Ronaldo on the far side, heads it back to Timon. And now Wood. And Timon again. Finding Wood again, and the home crowd are looking for the home team to play the ball forward with a bit more rapidity now. That's Poheta. Looks to pick out Key on this near side, but it's Goutas who comes across to head the ball out. And Dimitrios Goutas, one of the ever-presents in this Cardiff team this season. Errol Bullitt in his first experience of coaching outside of Turkey, but there's no doubt, considering the budget, considering the resources, he's done a pretty decent job. But as we heard before kick-off, he still doesn't know if he'll be offered a new deal for next season. Not quite sure what the parameters for success at Cardiff are. Well, I know what they'd like to happen, but considering what he's got to work with, I think he's done quite well, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you've seen the improvements over the last month or so, and he obviously spoke openly in January during the window that he needed a little bit more depth to his squad, and I think they'll need to move again in that regard in the summer. And yeah, 4 or 5 new players in different departments. I'm sure they could be competitive next year. Obviously, I think they need more goals in the team. I think they've got some good Championship forward players, but not ones that contribute enough goals. That'll be certainly something they'll look at. And I know they're in the game now, but there has been a gulf in terms of the way that they've been able to stroke the ball around in terms of what Swansea have been able to do.
Ronaldo with a high cross in, Cullen with a free header, it's wide, and it was a glorious chance for the man who's already scored and missed a penalty in this game. It was Ronaldo with a searching cross in, and he was completely unmarked around the penalty spot, and the header was woefully wide.
Yeah, ball slightly behind him, and there's not loads of pace on it, so he's still got to put a little bit on it, and I think he just mistimes it somewhat. He's just trying to arc his neck kind of back around the ball to steer it goalwards. It looks like a glaring missed opportunity, but I think that was quite a tough chance.
Wolves have equalised against Coventry. Ryan Ait-Nouri late on at Molineux. So that could be heading for another 30 minutes there. 1-1 the latest scoreline over on Talksport. Download the Talksport app to swipe between the two commentaries. Coventry were so close to an FA Cup semi-final as Tanner wins it back here for Cardiff, but now the early ball over the top from Grimes, looking for Ronaldo, who's very quick, and he's inside the penalty area, but the challenge comes in from Ng, and the final touch was off Ronaldo, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, clever. Matt Grimes just timed that pass superbly well, waited beautifully as well. Ronaldo possibly could have delivered first time on his left foot, but just stopped it to take a touch, and Perry Ng wins that particular battle on that occasion.
At the moment, Luke Williams heading for only his 4th victory in 12 games as the new Swansea manager. And with matches coming up against sides below them in the table, they have the real opportunity to sort out any lingering doubts very quickly in terms of their season. But now they've given the ball away. Colwell finding Grant inside the penalty area, tried one more pass to pick out Tanner, but it's cleared away by Darling. But Cardiff coming forward again now with Phillips, headed away though by Key. O'Dowda down the left for Cardiff City. He was the late hero last week. Will we see similar drama here? Ng closed down on the far side by Ronaldo, and Ronaldo's done well to win it back, and he's got support from Timon. Now Allen away from the lunging challenge of Siopis. Ronaldo again. And here is Grimes, just inside the Swansea half. Not a huge amount of movement ahead of him, so he goes all the way back towards Wood. As we tick towards the final 20 minutes here, there'll be a double change imminent for Swansea. Fulton and Cooper are the players coming on. In fact, it could be a triple change with Jamal Lowe also preparing to get stripped. And that's what will happen here. So Luke Williams will make wholesale changes as his team look to protect this 1-goal lead. Gutas inside the centre circle for Cardiff. Swings it wide to this near side. Key rising to play the ball away. Now Darling. And Darling will take on Grant and plays it forward, but it's way beyond Poeta and all the way through towards Ethan Horvath, wearing all black, defending the goal away to our right-hand side. And we're still waiting for this triple change here at the Swansea.com stadium as it's cleared downfield for Horvath, looking for O'Dowda, who's done well to head the ball in field. Grimes, though, will look to keep a move going for Swansea, but it's out of play. Aaron Ramsey will shortly be on for Cardiff, and while these changes are made, let's get headline team news from Turf 4. Our Premier League commentary at 3 o'clock is Burnley against Brentford, and our commentator will be Ian Dancer.
Afternoon to you, Nigel. Just one change for Burnley, but it's a very interesting one. Vincent Kompany has brought in Ari Muric in goal for James Trafford. Muric's first Premier League game of the season, otherwise unchanged from the 2-2 at West Ham. For Brentford, 2 changes. Norgard's out injured, so Jensen comes in for him, and Sergio Reguilon is back from injury. He displaces Keane Lewis Potter in midfield. Brian Mbeumo also back on the Brentford bench. Burnley-Brentford live on Talksport 2, straight after you, Nige.
Cheers, Dance. The 3 changes for Swansea, Allen, Patterson and Cullen are the players who have gone off. And the players who've come on are Jamal Lowe, Jay Fulton and Ollie Cooper. And Aaron Ramsey has also come on for Cardiff. So 19 minutes plus added time for him on his comeback from injury. And Siopis is the player who's gone off. So interesting that Ramsey has been eased back into a game like this, Sam.
Yeah. Makes sense, doesn't it? Gives them a bit more of a goal threat. Not really going to get that from Siopis or Wintle. They're having a lot more joy in the opposition's half now. I think it's just their starting positions that has just changed the sway of this match, really. They've been a lot higher. They've been closing down from the front. The midfield to have pushed on to Swansea's midfield as well. We didn't see any of that in the first half. They were very, very deep, trying to play on the counter-attack. Second half, much more even affair.
Wolves lead very late in the day at Molineux by 2-1 against Coventry in that FA Cup quarter-final. Hugo Bueno in the 88th minute. 2 goals in the final 7 minutes there for Wolves, who were a goal down at home to Coventry. And it looks as though Gary O'Neill's team are heading to Wembley and the semi-finals. Commentary on that game over on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2, it is still Swansea 1, Cardiff 0 in the South Wales derby as Grimes brings it forward now for Swansea over the halfway line, finding Cooper. Now Poheta, who is teasing the linesman with his position once again, but he's onside this time. Cooper with the cross in, which was deflected. Did it go behind? Not according to the assistant on this near side, Rob Smith, and it will be a goal kick. So Ramsey, of course, has got into a number 10 position behind Grant and Colwell. Colwell has also maybe pushed a bit further wide to the right. And the changes for Swansea were pretty much like for like, with Lowe going up front. They also have Cooper operating on this near side. And Jay Fulton maybe looking to look after Aaron Ramsey in midfield. And at the moment, he seems to be following him around, and he's Aaron Ramsey's shadow. 17 minutes to play. 1-0 Swansea lead. Colwell for Cardiff on the far side, twisting and turning. And here is Unji. And now Grant clips over the top for Colwell to chase. Wood will try and play it back to the goalkeeper, but Colwell cuts off that option. And now Wood is rather hemmed in by the corner flag, but he's done well with the support of Darling to get the ball away up towards the halfway line. And Gutas, as a result, will go all the way back towards his goalkeeper. The rain still sweeping down here as a long ball is played forward, looking for O'Dowda, and Rushworth, maybe just outside his penalty area, heads the ball away.
Yeah, he was very confident there, must have known exactly where he was in relation to the edge of the box, just headed it clear. O'Dowda was in quite close proximity, not seen any of O'Dowda really since that change at half-time, expecting more from him given his impact against Ipswich and the way that he's been playing, impacting games from the bench.
Now Cooper plays it forward for Ronald for Swansea, wide to Poheta on this near side. Low waits unmarked inside the box, and Poheta tries to arc the ball in with the outside of his left boot. But Swansea will have to try again as Cardiff clear. Ronald on this near side, finding Key. And Grimes will try and pull the strings from midfield. And there's space now briefly for Poheta. The lunging challenge comes in from Phillips. It's all very congested on the edge of the penalty area. And then the subsequent challenge was made by Wintle on the player who has just come on, Cooper. And it will be a free kick here, just outside the penalty area, in a central area for Swansea.
Yeah, it looked like it had just opened up previously. Poheta fed by Grimes, but just miscontrolled at the vital moment. But Cooper was on hand to win back possession for Swansea, and now a half-decent opportunity. 26, 27 yards from goal for a Swansea City player. It looks like Ryan Wintle's just going to be occupying that midfield, kind of central midfield berth by himself, and Colwell and Aaron Ramsey are going to be playing number 8. It's going to be really pushed on and try and join in with the front three players. So it should lead to a really open last 15 minutes of this game.
Free kick here. Grimes is over it. And we've seen Grimes on so many occasions curl these left-footed into the back of the net. Fulton could be the decoy, but he can also hit them with his right. But it's Grimes who curls it left-footed, and it's a comfortable save for Horvath.
Yeah, maybe just a bit too far out. Another 5 yards towards goal, and that's probably troubling the goalkeeper. But by the time it reaches him, this thing's gone out of it. He can shuffle to the left-hand side and make a really comfortable save.
Famara Jeju, the former Bristol City player, will be coming on shortly for Cardiff. So he'll be going up front as Phillips is challenged by Lowe inside the penalty area. He dallied on the ball there, and the final touch in the end was off Phillips, and it's gone behind for a Swansea corner. And here is the change. And it's Josh Wilson-Esbrand who is coming off. Jeju will come on, so presumably it will be a back three.
Yeah, or maybe O'Dowda could go to left back.
Yeah. But that does seem a bit of a waste, although I suppose O'Dowda may offer more going forward. Corner kick, though, for Swansea, which Fulton will take on the far side. It's an outswinger over the head of Colwill, but volley clear at the near post. Now Ronald does well to control and slips it forward to Lowe inside the penalty area. He leaves it now for Fulton, who fires in the cross, but it's claimed well at the near post by Horvath. And we are heading towards the final 10 minutes here. 78 minutes played on Talksport 2. Coming up at 3 o'clock, we have commentary of Burnley against Brentford with Ian Danta and Mickey Gray. And at 5:30 on Talksport, it is Manchester City against Newcastle with Faye Carruthers, Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce. At the moment, Wolves are heading through to Wembley, leading Coventry with a late comeback by 2-1. And then tomorrow we have the other two quarter-finals live on Talksport. 12:45 Chelsea against Leicester, and at 3:30 exclusive to Talksport, it is Manchester United against Liverpool. Fulton for Swansea, plays it wide to the far side, and Poiheta. He's got support from Ronald, but it's all the way back to Timon. And Swansea may just be trying to slow the pace of the game down here. But Luke Williams looks pretty frustrated as he urges his team to move the ball a bit quicker, possibly. And they do that here. Key on this near side. His run is tracked, though, by Grant. And O'Dowda has dropped into the left-back position, but both he and Ng will be expected to get forward as much as they can in the remaining stages here. But Ng now could be outwitted deep inside the penalty area. The low cross in, looking for Cooper at the near post, but it slid away. But Swansea regain possession. Here is Grimes again, looking for Timon over the top, but Colwill will hook it forward towards Jeju, who brings it down and finds Ramsey. Ramsey with an excellent ball wide to the far side, and Tanner with the opportunity to attack the penalty area. He's got support from Colwill. Tanner, though, in the end is challenged by Grimes, and it goes behind for a Cardiff corner.
Really good from Matt Grimes. They work it beautifully down the right-hand side, Cardiff, and still relatively fresh in his mind. Matt Grimes on sure that Tanner goal in the corresponding fixture. He knows he wants to come in field, architect it onto his left foot and bend one towards the far corner. Therefore, he gets his body position spot on there, shows him the outside really, shepherds him all the way to the byline, concedes the corner, but excellent work.
Wintle will take the corner kick with 10 minutes to play. The outswinger high towards the far post, it's headed towards goal, and in the end it's gone behind for a goal kick. Coventry have equalised at Molineux. A very late goal there in that FA Cup quarter-final. Wolves must have thought they'd won it with those two late goals in the closing seconds, but Coventry have scored even later. So it's 2-2, and that game could be heading for extra time over on Talksport. Ellis Sims in the 97th minute with that equalising goal for Coventry. Cardiff looking for something similar here, as Phillips goes all the way back towards Horvath. A high ball forward from him. It breaks kindly on the far side for Colwill. Infield to Ramsey, who turns and finds Grant, who's in space. O'Dowda on the overlap down the left. Grant makes the run into the penalty area. O'Dowda coming infield again to find Wintle. Back towards O'Dowda. And now Colwill. And every single outfield player is inside the Swansea half here. Phillips with the opportunity to deliver a high ball in. He does, looking for Grant. It's nodded away, though, well at the far post by Ronald. And the counter-attack now will begin with Cooper up towards the halfway line. And Cardiff there missing out on an opportunity, and they don't move the ball quickly enough either, do they? Lack of pace in the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's probably going to give the manager food for thought, though, the way that he's ended this game. Not to say there's been vast improvements in this second half, but I do think on that evidence of the first half, they need they need one or two better footballers in their ranks if they're serious about competing, I think, this season and next. And having Ramsey and Colwell out there now, it gives them the ability to play through teams, to have that little bit of guile, that little bit of individual brilliance. They were very regimented in that first half. There wasn't a player that could go beyond anyone. Now with O'Dowda as well out there, there's some good individuals, I think, a little bit more flair, which is called for if you need to win games. And at the moment, you know, they need to rack up the points if they're going to achieve something this season.
Well, Matt Grimes had hold of Ruben Colwell's shirt there. The referee, I think, gave Colwell the opportunity to evade his grasp. He did once, so Grimes held on. And eventually, it's a free kick here for Cardiff, midway inside the Swansea half, with 7.5 minutes to play. 1-0 Swansea lead. The goal from Liam Cullen as the high ball into the penalty area from Ramsey towards the far post. There were various appeals from the Cardiff fans behind that goal, but nothing's been given.
No, it's almost been, despite the nice little touches maybe since Colwell and Ramsey have come on, the best bet has still looked like a set piece. A couple of corner kicks which they've been able to get the first contact, but there's not been nearly enough on Rushworth's goal to warrant Cardiff City getting anything out of this game at the moment.
Haji Wright has scored for Coventry in the 9th minute of added time. They lead 3-2. What a game at Molineux. Here, Cardiff are coming forward again. It's swept back towards Grant on the edge of the penalty area. Grant with the cross to the far post over the head of Jeju. Ronaldo will head the ball away on this near side, and it will be a throw-in for Cardiff. So Coventry lead 3-2 at Molineux. They've scored in the 97th and the 99th minute. Now Ramsey inside the penalty area for Cardiff. Wintle wins it back. And here is O'Dowda down the left. A high cross into the penalty area. Headed away initially by Darling. Phillips, though, brings it down. Back towards Grant inside the penalty area. It won't sit down for him to fire the shot in. And it's hooked away by Key towards this near side. Wintle, though, challenges Ronaldo and comes away with the ball. He's then fouled by Lowe. And it's a free kick in a good area here for Swansea on the left-hand side with 6 minutes to play.
Yeah, a few chances in quick succession there. I thought the best one was probably for Carlin Grant. Initial little bit of play from Tanner down the right-hand side. Put quite a lot on the delivery, but I still felt Grant maybe could have just angled it goalwards first time. Opted to take a touch and the chance was gone. And down on this near side, Jamal Lowe, a little bit quick to make a challenge there. Wintle was just running into Swansea City teammates of his. Made the little tug or whatever, and now another opportunity from the dead ball.
Ramsey over the free kick here for Cardiff. Driven high towards the far post, and it was Phillips going in with a diving header. He claims he was held back, but nothing given. It's a goal kick.
Yeah, he's been well marshalled. I think it's Wood, his marker. Got a little piece of his shirt as well, probably, to make sure he couldn't get the run on him and get a strong enough contact with his head towards the target. He wins a lot of first contacts, though. Phillips has been impressive, both boxes, wins a lot in the opposite area, but nothing on the Swansea City goal again.
Four and a half minutes to play at the Swansea.com stadium. The home fans around us are beginning to celebrate the victory. Might be a bit early for that. It's only 1-0 as it's played long downfield again, and Ronaldo was having his shirt pulled there by O'Dowda, but we've seen so much of that throughout the game. O'Dowda clears long downfield, but it's quickly won back by Grimes, briefly won back by Grant, but here is Grimes again for Swansea, down their right, finding Ronaldo again. The high cross towards the far post, Proheta's volley, blocked though by Ng. And it spins towards the far side, where Tanner does well to keep the ball in play. He's got support from Colwell, who was neatly away from the challenge of Wood initially. Colwell then drives in field. He's done well. He's been cleaned out there by the late challenge, but play will continue because Ramsey has the ball down the left. Colwell did brilliantly there. Now Grant, back towards Colwell again. Right foot shot from him, thuds into the body of Wood and spins away to the far side where Proheta will clear. But Cardiff looking for the big finish here with 3.5 minutes to play. Swansea leading by 1-0 here on Talksport 2. Brentford against Burnley coming up at 3 o'clock. Phillips on the far side. Coventry have won 3-2. They're into the semi-finals. They've won at Wolves in the quarter-final. The cross into the penalty area. It'll almost fall towards Jeju. He's onside. He goes for the overhead kick, and it deflects behind there off Wood. Well, that happened in slow motion because the ball deflected up off Darling inside the penalty area. Jeju had time to look around to check if he was offside or not, and in the end went for the acrobatics, and it's a corner kick.
Yeah, hesitancy from the goalkeeper, but I think more so the two centre-halves. The way the ball was dropping, the kind of trajectory on it, meant that Jeju was going to be favourite, but only to get hold of it. In the end, he had a half attempt on the goal with an overhead.
Colwell now from the short corner. Drives in field towards the edge of the penalty area, finding Grant, and it's wide now towards Wintle. Wintle drives it in Lowe, but Lowe was there at the near post to clear.
Absolutely see the ability of Colwell and the obvious frustration as well. He looks to have absolutely everything.
A high ball played forward for Cardiff again, and Phillips is penalised for his aerial duel on the edge of the penalty area with Darling, and it will be a free kick to Swansea, and we have 2 minutes of normal time to play.
Yeah, poor quality initially. Ryan Wintle in a crossing position, hits the first man. Jamal Lowe deals with it, and there you've got a box so clever as an attacking player when the clock's running down. He's just too aggressive there. Nat Phillips in the challenge with Harry Darling. Harry Darling, we've seen this afternoon, he flings himself to the ground on occasion there. He's probably well within his rights. It's foolish from the Cardiff City centre-half giving away the foul.
90 seconds of normal time to play. Swansea leading 1-0, but it's been a rocky ride at times for them in the second half. Jeju hooks it forward again for Cardiff. It's clear, but Ng plays it down the line, but a really important challenge there from Tymon because there were two Cardiff players in behind him if he'd missed it. Now Poeta, his ball forward, those strikes Ng. It comes back towards Grimes again, and Grimes on the halfway line will go all the way back towards Wood, and he finds Rushworth, his goalkeeper. He plays it wide on this near side. Andy Davis, the fourth official, has the numbers board in his hand. Jeju manages to control on this near side, then goes down as he tries to link up with Ramsey, and Fulton comes away with the ball for Swansea. Wide towards Ronald on this near side. Key now for Swansea. And we have 30 seconds of normal time to play. At the moment, it looks as though Liam Cullen is going to be the match winner despite missing a penalty. But his goal, 11 minutes before half-time, may have settled this. A loose ball drops for Ollie Cooper. He plays it wide to the far side, and Poeta. And Poeta will go back in field towards Wood, and Swansea at the moment are just looking to have what they hold, and there will be a minimum of 5 more minutes. Well, there were 9 more minutes last week, and that was enough for Cardiff to turn a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 win, and they're about to bring on Charlie Patino, Swansea, to try and eat into that 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've really seen the difference in Swansea City having the two wide players with the pace and the athleticism this afternoon. Something that they've gone away from really the last couple of seasons with the wing-back system that's invariably been deployed. So I've enjoyed watching those two today. Poeta coming off now, looked a little bit fatigued as he just delivered from the left-hand side, but him on Ronald with space to run into, especially in this second half, been really good, constant threat.
And Premislav Poeta will be replaced by Charlie Patino, the youngster on loan from Arsenal. 4 goals and 4 assists from him so far. Errol Bullitt is just talking to Andy Davis, the fourth official, presumably saying, well, I hope you add on more time for that change. We've already had 1 minute and 20 seconds of the 5 added. Swansea heading for their 5th victory in 6 games against Cardiff. But here is Ramsey on the edge of the penalty area. Ramsey with a right foot shot, never got hold of it, and it trundles through towards Carl Rushworth.
That's a good chance, given the standards that we've seen really in this second half. There's been a lot of huff and puff. There's been a lot of balls into the 18-yard box, but nothing really presentable there. It's a fine sight of goal there for Aaron Ramsey. Harry Darling with a little bit of a mistake, a little bit hesitant, and it was a good sight of goal for Ramsey. Just didn't catch it at all.
20,005 is the crowd here today, which is a full house at the Swansea.com stadium, and the largest of the season. Now Fulton for Swansea, going all the way back to Wood, and Rushworth will clear downfield again. And in so many South Wales derbies here in recent years, it has not happened for Cardiff, but maybe now. Grant with a shot blocked on the edge of the penalty area. It spins away to Ronald, but he was quickly closed down by O'Dowda. Key will hammer the ball downfield now for Swansea. Gutas gets there before Lowe, but here is Ronald again. He was fouled by O'Dowda, but the referee allows play to continue because Key is coming forward here for Swansea. Back towards Patino, who tries an impudent little flick, not really required at this stage of a derby. Gutas is going to career into the challenge with Grimes. Grimes comes away with the ball, hammers it into Patino, and it's Cardiff who bring the ball away with 2 minutes of added time to play. On the far side, Colwill does well to find Tanner. Tanner comes in field, but he's challenged. He then gets the ball and in the end fouls his man, and it will be a free kick, and the Swansea players head towards their player who's on the ground there, which is Ollie Cooper, and they almost celebrate his challenge and the reception of the foul like a goal.
90 seconds to go or so. They think they're there. Just need to get this into the corner, try and run that clock down. I'm sure Cardiff will come forward once more. They've gone quite early, the crowd. If possession overturns again in the next 20 seconds or so, I'm sure Cardiff will have one more raid on the Swansea goal.
Into the final minute of added time. Swansea still leading by that goal to nil. Headed forward by Grimes. Nodded clear by Phillips. Low on the far side, but it's won back by Tanner. He tries to find Colwill. Colwill, though, can't bring it forward. Timon, I think, was fouled on the far side. He was. And it's a free kick to Swansea, and that should be that. Well, Luke Williams, striding around his technical area, has had a difficult time since arriving at Swansea City as the head coach, but this will lift a good deal of the pressure on him and his team. Swansea have dealt well a throw-in close to the corner flag on the far side, and the 5 minutes originally allotted are about to expire. Very soon, the Swansea.com stadium will be exultant as Swansea hold the ball by the corner flag on the far side. It squirts out, and it will be a goal kick, and there may just be time to take this. Ethan Horvath, though, will have to hammer this ball a long way very quickly. One final chance, maybe. Flicked on by Jeju. Over the head, though, of Colwill. On the far side, it's Jeju again. It's hammered forward, but it breaks kindly for Cooper. Cooper down the line, looking for Lowe. Lowe's got there before Phillips. Strides into the penalty area. Jamal Lowe can finish it, and he does! Jamal Lowe makes it 2-0, and Swansea City have won the South Wales derby. Absolute bedlam inside the stadium. There'll be no league double from Cardiff City this year, and as far as Swansea City are concerned, there'll be no league double any year, because when it's really mattered, they have pulled out the performance, and Jamal Lowe has stepped off the bench to win the game right at the end. It should be the end of Cardiff's playoff charge, and it should mean the end of those lingering relegation fears for Swansea. There'll be great celebrations in this part of South Wales this evening, because Swansea have beaten Cardiff 2-0.
Brilliant from Jamal Lowe, just became a race between him and Nat Phillips, and obviously fresher Jamal Lowe into the action relatively recently, just had the legs on him, just beat him to the ball and then showed brilliant composure with two Swansea teammates arriving who wanted the cut back. They would have had an unguarded net once he'd gone past Horvath, the goalkeeper, and then just slid it and got enough on the ball to beat the Cardiff City defender on the line, and no more than they deserve. It's been a comprehensive derby victory, I would suggest, far and away the better side, and they're going to leave with all 3 points.
Once again, Cardiff City have not really turned up at Swansea, and it's really cost them this time. The full-time whistle goes. Swansea City have won by 2-0. Another season goes by without a league double for Cardiff City. But it's the Swansea fans who are celebrating all around us and all over this city. It seems certain now they won't be going down, and Cardiff City won't be making the playoffs either. The goals from Liam Cullen and Jamal Lowe right at the end. And a disappointing season has a silver lining in this part of South Wales. It has finished Swansea City 2, Cardiff City 0.
Well, what a day for the Swansea fans, a triple whammy for them to celebrate. They've won the South Wales derby, they've steered clear of choppy waters, and while doing it, they've thrown a whopping great spanner in the works of Cardiff's promotion dream. Nigel Adderley with the commentary, Sam Parkin alongside him. Sam, that about wraps it up, doesn't it? Is that the end of the hope for Cardiff and the end of the fears for Swansea?
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah, I think Cardiff have shown in the last few weeks something to build on for next season. In that second half, Chris, they looked a lot better, especially after the introduction of Colwill, Aaron Ramsey. You know, better calibre players. You can take the ball and actually get them up the pitch with a little bit of guile and a little bit of quality. So they'll improve, I'm sure, next season, especially if they can, you know, keep hold of the manager and improve the squad. But Swansea, huge victory for them. They've not been good here under Luke Williams. A couple of sporadic victories, you know, away from home, but that's something really to build on. Both sides of it today as well. That fight that you expect in a derby. The second balls, they competed and won the majority, but had that real quality on the ball as well. And that's only going to improve when they can do some work in the transfer market. So a job well done. Far and away the better side. Well done today.
Yep, 4 wins in 12 now for Luke Williams as the Swansea boss, and none bigger than winning the South Wales derby in your first bite at it as a coach. So to wrap things up, Liam Cullen got the opening goal, 1-0, lovely taken volley. Slight controversy in the build-up to that. Perry and G felt he was fouled under the high cross for that. Cullen, for Swansea, then missed a penalty in the second half, and you just heard in the commentary Jamal Lowe wrapping it up deep into injury time. As we look ahead then to the next season, Sam, Luke Williams has got himself a good few months to get this Swansea side purring the way that he wants them to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'll be a few areas in the pitch that he'll immediately want to improve. Despite Cullen getting the goal and having the 2 other most presentable chances today, I think it's definitely a striker and forward players that they badly need. That said, I thought the pace in the wide positions was threatening today. Ronald, the player they brought in, I think immediately the fans have taken to him, and it's something that you kind of always associated with Swansea. Real pace, directness in the wide positions. You think back to Nathan Dyer and Wayne Routledge, that brilliant Swansea team of old that made it all the way to the Premier League and into Europe. So I think they need to focus in that position, definitely. Get some more depth in the forward roles, but I think through the team, Luke will just want good footballers that can handle the ball under pressure and play that heavy possession style that the fans, the Swansea fans, really enjoy, and that Luke demands from his team. So I'd be really optimistic that it's a season that they'll be able to challenge next year, definitely with the right recruits.
Yeah, we talked before kick-off about Errol Bullitt and his contract being up at the end of the season. How will a Derby Day defeat impact his standing with the fans and the board at Cardiff?
Well, everyone will be disappointed, I think, and not just with the defeat, but the manner of the way they played today. I thought it was pretty one-dimensional for the majority. They tried to play on the counter-attack, and it didn't work in the first half. I thought they were overwhelmed, really, by Swansea's intensity and also their quality with the football. So I think there's still a lot to do there at Cardiff, but I think with the group of players he's had, he's probably done the best that could be asked of him. So I think they still need to improve. They still need to overhaul the squad. I still believe there's quite a lot of dead wood there that's probably remained from previous regimes. So I think it's a big job for someone in the summer, but I think he's better suited, probably better placed than someone coming in from the cold. So I'd like to see him stay. I'd like to see him be able to change the squad and see what he can muster next season.
Yeah, we shall see. Great work from Sam Parkin and our match commentator Nigel Adderley at the Swansea.com stadium. This is Game Day Live on Talksport 2. Great game, one-sided game in the derby. It finished Swansea 2, Cardiff 0. Now coming up next.